to First Take. Patrick Mahomes had successful surgery last night to repair the torn ACL in his left knee that happened in the loss to the Chargers on Sunday. So 9 months is typically the recovery time for ACL tears, meaning Mahomes will miss the team's offseason program, training camp, and it puts his availability for the start of the next season in question. The 2026 NFL season opener is set for September 10th. All right, so with that loss to the Chargers, the Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs for the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era. That ends 10 consecutive 10-win seasons and 9 consecutive AFC West titles. So, Canty, as we look at the fallout from this, because it has been a miserable year in Kansas City, aside from this Mahomes injury, which is literally adding insult to injury.
Yeah.
Is this just a bad year for Kansas City, or is this a sign that the Chiefs' dominant run, the dynasty, is over?
Oh, the dynasty is done. The Chiefs, as we know them, are finished. And I think this year highlights the malpractice that has gone on within that franchise over the last several years. They have taken the greatness of Patrick Mahomes for granted. And I will say something that one of my good friends, Nick Wright, who is a Kansas City Chief, said yesterday. We're about to find out just how bad the Kansas City Chiefs are during these final 3 weeks of the regular season. They have not protected the franchise, which is Patrick Mahomes. This year, Patrick Mahomes is the second most contacted quarterback over the last 3 years. No quarterback has been hit more on dropbacks than Patrick Mahomes. And oh, by the way, during that same span, their receivers lead the league in drops, and they're 22nd in rushing. So you mean to tell me your quarterback doesn't have any protection, your quarterback doesn't have reliable receivers, and you have no reliable running game to lean on? Got it. That's the best way to accentuate a top 5 quarterback of all time. It makes no sense. Everybody that's in charge in decision-making power in Kansas City needs to look themselves in the mirror, and they need to get serious about trying to do right by Patrick Mahomes by fortifying that roster and putting better supporting cast around him. And until they do, we will look at one of the greatest talents that we've seen at the quarterback position in NFL history and wonder why he can't get back to the level that we saw him at through the first 7 years of his career.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, oh, go ahead, Stephen. You got something?
CC is not wrong with what he's saying, but I find myself sitting here believing that he's a bit too harsh. I really do. I mean, I'm just, again, I'm thinking about this brother that gets up 6 o'clock in the morning terrorizing America on that radio show. And I'm just saying, damn, he's just terrorizing everybody, And I find this more the same. Like, they've been to 5 of the last 6, they've been to 5 Super Bowls in 6 years. They've been to 3 straight. They won back-to-back titles, right? And I'm saying, okay, coming into the season, we had expectations for them. It wasn't just for Patrick Mahomes, but one thing he can't do is catch his passes. We didn't anticipate that Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and Thornton and even Travis Kelce were going to be dropping passes. We didn't anticipate that. So again, I agree with you that the dynasty is over, but I'm thinking about it because Denver is here. Chargers are coming. Jacksonville and Houston can't be ignored. The New England Patriots have arrived. I'm thinking about it because of those reasons, as opposed to something that you really, really can't anticipate. All of these drop passes, really, did you expect that? I didn't expect that. And that, so now I'm looking at it, all right, your pass rush is suspect. Your running game, you pointed that out, CC, obviously there's lack production as well, no doubt about that. But receivers dropping passes, that's not something that you expected from them. And then I'm looking at it now, and you're absolutely right. They're the second worst cap team in the National Football League. The only team with, over the cap as much as they are is the Dallas Cowboys. So it is a really precarious situation that they're in. I'm just saying to myself, damn, if you told me that, I was going to have Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy as my receivers this year, I think that's a pretty good crop. That's how I'm thinking about it, CC, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I would say this. I would say that everybody on the offensive side of the football for the Kansas City Chiefs has ownership in this, right? Like, Patrick Mahomes didn't play his best football. The receivers didn't play their best football. The offensive line had a bunch of injuries. They didn't play their best football. The running game was what it was, those running backs. I think part of it is the Brett Veach, they need another run of like Bolton, Humphrey, Trey Smith, McDuffie. They need some young players to come in and be developed. I think everybody rested on their laurels of Patrick Mahomes going to drop back and save us. And he'll make do and he'll make plays out of nothing. And the problem with that philosophy is it only travels so far. And when your quarterback starts getting hit the way he was, all the timing gets thrown off, things happen. The other part, to Stephen A's point, a lot of teams offensively have caught up. You think about like the Sean McVays, but think about Ben Johnson, year one. Liam Cohen, year one. Like these guys are coming in and they are a value add. They're getting young players to play exceptionally well really quickly. They're putting them on there. And Trevor Lawrence, he's not a young player, obviously, but he's never played nearly as well as he has this season. And that's part of what Liam Cohen has done. And I look at these teams, Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels, what they're doing with Drake May in New England. Everybody else has done and has kind of grown. I did not feel the same way about Andy Reid and Matt Nagy. I don't feel like there was a lot of creativity in that offense, which is really the opposite of how people kind of identify them. And is part of it because of injury or lack of run game? I don't know. But the facts are the facts. They haven't done the things to help Patrick Mahomes. And unfortunately, with the injury, we're gonna have to wait for quite some time to see him back.
Can't chime in here to piggyback off of something you said that where I do get your point even more so. When you talk about what's criminal, Jeff Saturday just brought up that Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, the pair, and how an absence of innovation, an absence of creativity, etc. What's criminal about that is that we saw that in a blowout loss in the Super Bowl. You would think that is something that would have been alleviated considering the manner in which you lost on the biggest football stage in the world. And we saw none of that. And you got 12-0, including the postseason, 12-0 last year in one-score games. This year they were 1-7. So you just find yourself looking at them and saying, "What's up?" That does point to that Matt Nagy, Andy Reid combo right there that you would have expected better than that from them, no doubt.
So how do you fix it, Canty? You mentioned the cap space. They're $43.5 million over the cap next year. The offensive line's bad. The receivers aren't good. There's no run game. How do you fix it? They've got nothing but time without Patrick Mahomes for at least 9 months.
Well, the cap part is not as complicated. That's just two restructures, Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones. So that'll take care of itself. But getting the return on investment on the draft picks is absolutely mission critical.
Yes.
3 of their last 5 first-round draft picks have been on the offensive side of the ball. And they haven't gotten the return on those investments. And then, oh, by the way, we got embarrassed in the Super Bowl in large part because our offensive line couldn't stop a parked car, i.e. the pass rush of the Philadelphia Eagles. And what is our response in the offseason? Trade away our best offensive lineman. That's brilliant.
Right.
Absolutely brilliant. But here's what I will say. I don't think that Patrick Mahomes is blameless in all of this, but I don't blame him for anything that he's done off the field. Where I will hold him accountable is where we hold all-time great quarterbacks accountable, which is their leadership. And that has not been displayed in terms of holding players to a standard and having a sense of urgency that's required. There's always a healthy amount of tension in any productive workplace, and the Kansas City Chiefs just don't have that. And quite frankly, that's been missing on that offensive side of the ball since Eric Bieniemy left the building. And I'm wondering whether or not Patrick Mahomes can step in and be that in order for the Kansas City Chiefs offense to move forward.
Yeah, both of those people that you mentioned, Eric Bieniemy, Joe Tooney,
by the way,
the offensive lineman. Where are they now?
In Chicago, and it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good.
Stephen A.
When you talk about Joe Thuney, I'm like, you traded him away for a 4th-round pick when you know you got to protect Patrick Mahomes? You got a point, CC. You got a point, CC. Yeah, you just do. You just do.
Let's leave it here. Let's move on to the AFC East. What a comeback. What an incredible comeback by the reigning MVP, Josh Allen, and the Bills in New England. Buffalo was down 21-0 in the second quarter and outscored the Pats 35-10 to come back and win this game. They pull within a game of the division lead, and despite that 35-31 loss, the Patriots still have the strongest chance to win the AFC East at 64.5%, according to ESPN Analytics. But a loss to either of those teams opens the door for the Bills, who now hold the head-to-head tiebreaker. Jeff, which team needs the AFC East more?
Patriots. Listen, when you look at the Buffalo Bills, I would tell you, whoever they play in the playoffs, if they make it to the playoffs, whoever they play in the playoffs, they're going to be favored because of Josh Allen. And that's just the facts. Odds makers are going to do it. When you talk about the New England Patriots, having everybody come to your place, second-year quarterback, young team, they have not had an overly tough schedule. I know they beat the Bills, they split with the Bills, but from a how many good teams are you beating? They're going to be on the low end just because of how their schedule played out. You want those games at home with a young team, brand new head coach there, being at home, being in that environment, it pays dividends. I would tell you that if you would trust Josh Allen more to go on the road, again, CC made the point he hadn't won. He's played really well on the road. So Josh Allen would not be my concern. Their run defense is my concern in Buffalo. But as I look at this team, I think the Patriots need to be at home. Let me just tell you, Mike Vrabel has done an insanely good job in New England. Them boys are kicking themselves. They are kicking themselves and letting one get away. They let one get away. And Buffalo, give them credit, their defense balled out. In the second half, they did a number of different things and shut the pace. Other than the Henderson, big like run to the right and then sprint out to the left for however many yards, they basically shut them down. That was a minor miracle in New England. I don't see New England giving games away like that very often. They feel, I'm sure Vrabel's going, hey, man, this is what happens, right? You take your foot off the gas for 1 second. We're going to learn a lesson from this one. But Patriots getting that home field advantage matters to me.
Yeah, I will say this. I don't look at what happened in Week 15 as an indictment on the New England Patriots. They were down arguably their top offensive lineman and their top defensive lineman.
Right.
And that showed up in a major way.
Right.
Because they weren't able to keep Drake May clean and they weren't able to stop the run when the Buffalo Bills got it rolling in the second half.
Right.
Milt Williams changes all of that.
Right.
So if and when he's back for the postseason, I would expect the Patriots to be a lot better in that regard. Now, when it comes to who needs to win the AFC East more, it is clearly the Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
Clearly the Buffalo Bills. Because it is Super Bowl or bust for Sean McDermott and Josh Allen. No Patrick Mahomes, no Joe Burrow, and potentially no Lamar Jackson. And for a quarterback that's never won a road playoff game, to have to go on the road and win three to get the. What do you mean, Stephen A? Hold on now. Let me finish.
This is that 6 a.m. This is that 6 a.m. guy talking.
Stephen A, let me make my point. It's year one for Mike Vrabel and Drake May. Year one. It's year 8 for Josh Allen and Sean McDermott. If they don't get it done now, when is it going to happen? It's Super Bowl or bust for the Buffalo Bills. It needs to happen now.
No, that's not the tenor of the question, no.
What do you mean? You said
that's not the tenor of the question. In other words, when you're asking the question, which team needs to win a division more, you're bringing up history. I'm bringing up in the moment right now, based on how these teams look and what we foreshadow is oncoming for the postseason. And I'm saying to myself, I'm looking at a guy like Drake May. Do you know that he's got 26 starts and he doesn't have a single fourth quarter comeback?
Right.
That's kind of alarming when you think about the postseason. You talked about how they were a bit hampered on the offensive and the defensive line, right? You talked about that. We talked about him, no fourth quarter comebacks. I'm looking at the New England Patriots and I'm imagining, in Foxborough, particularly with a second-year quarterback, you want the child to play at home rather than having to go on the road and produce. Josh Allen, I don't give a damn where he is. He's Josh Allen. And he's proven he's Josh Allen. It don't matter where he's at. Get him in, and he's going to deliver for you. We don't look at the Buffalo Bills. What do I say all the time, CC? Don't let it be you. Don't let it be you. So we haven't looked at Josh Allen and said it's him when it comes to the postseason failings of the Buffalo Bills. We've looked at everything else. We've looked at him and said, oh, he did his job. Right. And so I just look at it from that standpoint, and I say under these circumstances, I would say New England needs to win the division more so than the Bills, because New England is the one I would have less faith in them on the road than I would have in Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills on the road. That's the point.
Stephen A., would you agree that there has to be more urgency to win a championship in Buffalo than in New England?
Yes.
You would agree with that?
I would agree with that.
I do. Hold on a second.
Okay.
This is Josh Allen's worst team. Take Josh Allen out of it. His receivers, his defense, his run game, like you're asking him to do. Let me tell you something. If Josh Allen.
That's what happens when you paid a quarterback $300 million, sir.
They paid Patrick Mahomes $500 million.
And look at the team. And look at the team around him.
Well, will you take 6 for 1?
But my whole point is they have to have urgency to win a championship. That's the point.
Everybody, but their team isn't built. You got to look at the Buffalo. But they are playing better. If they give themselves a shot at the Super Bowl, it is a minor. They don't have the dudes, the same dudes. You think about their defense, you think about their receiving core. Josh Allen is doing more with less than any other quarterback.
They don't have the dudes, but guess what? They also don't have to go up against the Chiefs. And outside of the Cincinnati Bengals, that's the only team that's put them out of the playoffs. So that's why they have to have.
That's everybody. The Chiefs beat everybody.
I don't know what you want me to say. I'm just trying to point it out.
I want you to say the Patriots should get home
No,
field. Yes,
no,
that's what you need to say.
Listen,
I was wrong.
No, I wasn't wrong. I wasn't wrong. There have only been 3 wild card teams to win a Super Bowl in the last 2 decades.
That's for sure.
So it actually benefits you to win the division and have a home playoff game. I think the Bills need that more than the Patriots because the Bills got to get to a Super Bowl more than the Patriots right now.
All right, we got to.
I feel you on the urgency of the Bills getting to the Super Bowl. I'm just saying, when you talk about who needs to win the division more, I'm thinking about, okay, whoever doesn't win the division, what challenges do you face? And are you equipped to deal with it? I like Josh Allen's chances on the road better than I like Drake May's.
Yep.
That's my point. And I'm looking at it from that standpoint, and I'm saying, yo, if I'm the New England Patriots, particularly when you consider in history, at home, up 21 points or more, they were 124-1 in history, and they had won 104 straight games, went up by 21 points at home, and then that got derailed by whom? Josh Allen.